What's going on, YouTube? So the Ford F-150 continues to be one of America's best-selling trucks, which is why they make a ton of different versions.
And today we are with the 2026 Platinum with all the goodies.
So, should you buy this, or should you wait for new rivals like the all-new Silverado? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Let's start out under the hood with a quick spec dump. So you can get a slew of different powertrain options. This today is the Power Boost. That is a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 engine with electric hybrid componentry making 430 horsepower. It's paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission and 4-wheel drive with combined fuel economy of 23 mpg.
Now the base price of the F-150 this year is around 48 grand. The Platinum starts at 72 grand. And if you're looking to buy one or any vehicle, we'd encourage you to check out carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, we're going to take it out for a spin to show you what this hybrid truck is like out on the road. But first, we need to go ahead and shut up the hood, take a look at the exterior as well as the fancy interior.
Now getting into the exterior design, of course the F-150 has its signature look. Ford doesn't really change too much year to year, but you can get an absolutely ridiculous number of trim levels on this vehicle. You can make this truck truly look like whatever you want it to look like. Now, like we mentioned at the beginning, we've got the Platinum. That's your kind of top spec trim level in terms of luxury. And with this, we've got the gloss black grille. We've got the Ford logo right through there, but it's not the only way you can even get the Platinum. New for 2026, Ford is actually bringing a standard version of the Platinum package. So the 700A kind of brings that price point down a little bit. And then you can move up to 701, 702, and 703, which is the Platinum Plus. That's going to be the maximum loaded model, and that will have Platinum branding across the hood. Now, let's redirect over here to the headlights. Since this is a high-end example, we have the projector, full LED headlights. You have your LED turn signal indicator and then your large daytime running light going through there. That kind of connects in to your fog light housing down at the bottom. Now, as we walk around to the back, the Platinum version of the F-150, I think, has an extra classy appearance versus the other trim levels because of this tailgate.
Yeah, I really like the fact that it's spelled out across the back. And let's take a look at some of the individual design touches past that. Let's start with the taillights. So our taillights are going to be premium as long as you choose a Lariat trim and above. That's going to give you the full LED ability, including the brake light, the turn signal, and the LED reverse light. As we drop down to the lower fascia, this is all a body color, which I appreciate. As far as the tow capacity for this Platinum Power Boost, it's around 11,000 pounds. However, you can go up to 13,500 pounds, which is best in class with other versions. But what about the bed? We have a lot of luxury features when it comes to this, and there's also several different tailgates that you can option on. This is just the standard tailgate with the Platinum branding. Be aware though, if you get like the split tailgate, that will remove the Platinum branding. And since we have a high-end example, that means we have the fully power tailgate, so it goes up and down automatically. And let's talk about overall bed information. It's a 5.5-foot bed. We have the bed liner through here. You also have some nice truck-like things, such as the lighting here on the side. And since we have the hybrid model, we get the Pro Power on board. So it's 7.2 kilowatts of electricity going into here. So that's one of the big advantages for going for the hybrid. You can do a lot of different things here in the bed and really power a lot of your tools with ease. Now, in addition to that, you have a ruler right here for measuring different things. And in order to get in and out of the bed, they've made it really easy with this little step that you can easily get in and out.
Moving on to the wheels, you have a lot of choices from 17-inch alloys all the way up to 22-inch alloys. This is the 20-inch gloss black finish you get on the Platinum trim. I think it looks really nice overall with, of course, the fully blacked out look we have on this example. Platinum branding up here on the fender, and then moving up here to our mirrors. These are fully loaded with all the features for the Platinum trim level, including auto dimming.
Now, I'm sure you're probably wondering how you can get the F-150. Like Drew was saying, there's a ton of different combinations. The Platinum does come standard with the Super Crew full 4-door setup. This is the 5.5-foot bed, so probably the most popular combination. It's around 230 inches in overall length. You can also get the 6.5-foot bed as well, and then on the lower trims, an 8-foot bed, as well as shortened doors here in the back if you prefer that. Now, for 2026, they have also included 3 new color additions. You can see those on the screen right now. And let's talk safety. So when it comes to that, you get 3 out of 4 active safety features as standard equipment. Trimmer and above will additionally include things like adaptive cruise control, and you also get Blue Cruise, which is a hands-free highway assist function. It's 1.4, so it's one of the newest versions, and also new for 2026, the fact that you can buy it outright now for 7 years, in addition to that 1-year trial that you get included here on the Platinum. But guys, let's go ahead and check out the inside. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then, we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from our long-term vehicle videos to our side-by-side comparisons, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. Now let's move to the inside. First, here is our key fob, typical Ford key fob. Of course, you have smart entry as well as remote start on the majority of trim levels, including the Platinum. Now as we walk up to the truck, just grab behind the handle, that will unlock the door. You'll also see the power deploying running boards pop out. Just be aware that the new base Platinum package for 2026 does not include the power deploying running boards. Now, as far as the interior of this truck, of course, the Platinum is going to give you quite a few goodies, and we'll start out with the seats themselves. This is a real leather seat on board. Very nice feel to this. I like the Platinum branding up there at the top. You have 10 ways of power adjustment, or excuse me, 12 ways of power adjustment with 4-way lumbar support. Plus, if you choose anything except for that base 700A package for the Platinum, you get the massaging abilities. Regardless, though, you will get memory seats, which are located right over here on the door trim, and let's go ahead and climb inside. And now let's go ahead and look at the rest of the cabin materials. So over here on the door trim, we have a leatherette covering with a stitching detail. Through the center section, you get a suede insert, and then you get some more leatherette across the top part, so you can rest your arm up there. Moving to the upper dash, this is more of a rubber type texture through here with a stitched detail. You have some silver trim through there as well as through the center section and down here along the center tunnel. Just be aware that if you choose the highest end version of the Platinum, the Platinum Plus, that's going to give you a little bit of a fancier interior experience. You'll get a truffle colored interior and some wood decor. Now we'll fire it up with the push button start. Let's jump into some individual details. So we'll start with the gauge cluster. Ford is giving you the full digital gauge cluster on all of the trim levels. You can reconfigure this to several different designs. And then one thing I specifically like about our tester is the head-up display. We've got a very premium head-up display. It's not on every single Platinum, but it is on most of them. It is absolutely enormous. It has some really detailed graphics, and it plays cool animations and things like that when you boot up the truck. Now, moving back to the steering wheel, we've got the Platinum design steering wheel. We have the premium feeling leatherette around the outside edges, Platinum branding. It is power, tilt, and telescoping. That's for the King Ranch and the Platinum. And then we also have power adjusting pedals right down there. Now, let's turn over here to our interior storage. Of course, you have the special branding there on the actual console. There you go. Open that up there. You can see we have a lot of donuts inside. They're just kind of loosely setting in there because this exceeds the maximum number that we can even bring along with us. This is 24 donuts easily swallowed inside. We could even do probably another dozen. Now, this does also come with the workstation, so you can fold that down, eat or work or whatever you want to do through there because the shifter folds down. And then you got your 2 cup holders, more storage in the front of there, wireless, phone charging pad, and a little bit of storage down along the side. Now I'll go ahead and pop out the shifter itself. When we go into drive, you can shift manually with little toggles on the side. Now in reverse, you have the 360-degree camera system. There are your different views you can choose from up there at the top. You can even see the bed and a live stream. Of course, you also have an electronic parking brake with a brake hold function. Then over here, you got your four-wheel drive controls, your trailer brake controller, and also your Pro Trailer Assist backup function. Now, moving over here to all these, buttons. Of course, you have those nice physical controls for the dual zone climate control system. Easy to adjust the temperature up and down. You also have heated and ventilated seats, which have an automatic function. Both of those are included on the trimmer trim and above. Up above that, we have our volume knob. Since we have a high-end example, we have the Bang & Olufsen Unleashed sound system. Let's give it a sample. Overall sound quality of this system is really nice. It certainly fills up the cabin. It's got a lot of depth to the sound and plenty of bass. I definitely would think it's getting close for sure to the Ram's sound system, and it definitely beats the current Silverado. We'll see about the upcoming new one though. All right, let's zero in with our main technology. So when this truck was refreshed, they gave you the 12-inch display as standard equipment. That continues for 2026. As you can see, we have built-in navigation. This is for its sync system, so it's not their newest digital experience. Because of that, you are missing a little bit of that like extra performance, extra pizzazz that you get in things like the Explorer, but overall the functionality is fine. You have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Of course, just be aware that you can get a larger display if you get a Ram truck, and then the upcoming new Silverado is going to also give you a larger display, and it'll give you the availability of a passenger display as well. Moving up top here, we have an auto-dimming mirror. HomeLink remotes are up here in the visor. And I'll go ahead and slide back the sunshade for the available panoramic sunroof. As you can see, it's a nice large piece of glass, and the front panel opens up. Now, checking out the F-150's rear seat, as I mentioned at the side of this vehicle, we have the Super Crew, which is the largest one that you can get here in the rear, and oh my goodness, is it large. It is absolutely massive. So what we're sitting at, is around 43 inches of legroom and about 40 inches of headroom. Both of those are going to be very good figures, as you can see, clearly demonstrated. I'm 5'9", and this seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". We brought along the official Car Confections ruler to get a realistic knee room figure for you, and look at that. We're sitting at a foot of a knee space. That is going to be enough for any size adult here in the back. Now, my feet can slide up underneath of the seats as well. The seats themselves are going to be really nice and comfortable back here. They do not recline, which is something that the Ram 1500 will give you. As far as other features, we have a armrest right here, 2 cup holders inside. You have a power rear window as well. And then the center section has 2 cup holders. We have vents down here at the bottom. We also have a 12-volt outlet. A heated back seat as well is going to be included here on your higher end examples. And then we have 2 USB ports. These are Type C variety, as well as a household style outlet. So you should really be able to keep everything charged up. In addition to that, you have a lot of under-seat storage. As you can see, it's also sectioned off, so things aren't going to roll around, which is pretty nice. And then over on the door trim, we have a leatherette across the upper part, suede in the center section, and on the armrest portion, we have a cup holder in front of that, and then tons of door storage down on the bottom. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2026 Ford F-150. In this test drive, we'll be discussing quite a lot, as you can see on the screen right now. But first and foremost, we need to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration. And just like that, we are over 60 miles an hour, quite effortlessly, and even going uphill. Nicely done. Nicely done. So, as we discussed at the beginning of the spec dump, there's a ton of different powertrains you can get with the F-150. Basically, any configuration you would want outside of a diesel, you can get it with the F-150. With the Platinum trims, that starts you with a standard 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6 engine. That's one of the more powerful engine options. And then you can further add on what we have today, which is the Power Boost hybrid system. So that adds the hybrid electric componentry to that 3.5 twin-turbo V6, giving you 430 horsepower and 570 pound-feet of torque. So obviously, that's a lot of power for a truck. It really gets this thing moving quite swiftly, and I definitely like the low-end torque to get you off the line.
Yeah, 570 pound-feet of torque really just makes this huge truck feel like completely effortless when it comes to power driving it. I mean, it really is an exceptional powertrain. I have to say, this is probably my favorite powertrain in the F-150 lineup. And there's a lot of choices, but this is a really standout powertrain for the segment. You know, big rivals like the Chevy Silverado, we have seen what the all-new one is going to have when it comes to powertrain. It will have 2 different V8 options in addition to the 4-cylinder, but it's not going to have a hybrid system like this. And we'll talk about the fuel economy, but it's pretty impressive here on the Power Boost version. Now, if you're curious about the other powertrains, like I said, it's very complicated. They're available on different trim levels, and you can see all of that on the screen. You start out with a 2.7-liter twin-turbo V6. You have a 5-liter naturally aspirated V8 if you want that. You also have a high-output version of this 3.5-liter with the Raptor, and there's even a supercharged V8 if you want that in the Raptor R. So, like I said, full gamut of powertrain choices.
Yeah, and of course, we talked a little bit about, comparing this, buying an F-150 now or waiting for the upcoming Silverado. I think a big reason you might want to wait for the Silverado is if you're a V8 enthusiast and you want a large displacement V8, because that is something that the F-150 doesn't have, because that V8, naturally aspirated V8, should be making about 500 horsepower. Yeah. So you would have to, go away from the V8 if you want that type of power in an F-150. Now, as far as the transmission is concerned, we've got a 10-speed automatic. We've always found this transmission to be a good partner with all the different powertrain options. Certainly nice and smooth. You can also downshift multiple gears at once.
Yeah, and as far as how power is routed to the ground, you have 2-wheel drive or available 4-wheel drive. And new for 2026 is 2-wheel drive is now the standard choice on some of your higher-end examples, including this Platinum and King Ranch. That, of course, is going to kind of lower your price point down a little bit to make it more accessible if you're not needing that 4-wheel drive capability. So that's something to keep in mind. And when it comes to fuel economy, once more, there's a vast array of fuel economies, but I want to highlight the Power Boost specifically, because what we're sitting at is 22, 24, 23 miles per gallon combined with this. And, that's a really, really good fuel economy figure for a hybrid truck that's going to do better than things like the Tundra Capstone with its hybrid system. And really, as we've been talking about, the Silverado is not going to be including a hybrid, so one can expect, although we don't have official numbers, that V8 is going to be a lot less efficient than this Power Boost version, probably in the upper teens. Let's go ahead and get our sound level reading going 55. We're looking at 56.8 decibels as our sound level reading with it on fan speed 1. We have our vented seats off, as well as things like massage. And we don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to other full-size trucks on the market. We actually have gone through and put them all on our website, carconfections.com. And compared to, all those truck rivals that we've looked at, that isn't going to be the quietest sound level reading that we've gotten. Several of the rivals are going to be on the quieter side. And I will say, it does sound a little bit loud, although I will point out the road surfacing is getting a little bit on the louder side on this strip of road. And while we're also just cruising down the highway here, I want to talk about ride quality. So when it comes to the F-150's ride, we've been pretty impressed with this year after year. Nothing is really changing for 2026, so it has solid ride quality. Now, I will say solid because it does miss out on a few features that you can get on a couple of the rivals. Here on the King Ranch and Platinum trim levels, you get the adaptive damper setup. That's going to help increase your ride quality, make it feel a little bit less truck-like. However, you still do not have a full air suspension option. So compared to the Ram 1500, that's going to have basically like a luxury SUV ride quality that gets out all of those road imperfections and all the vibrations. This still has a little bit of that truck-like feel. I kind of wish Ford would have added that at least on like the fully loaded Platinum Plus model, but they are still not including that on the F-150 on any version. That being said, it's still a pretty good ride quality. You hit a bump in the road, it does a good job of soaking things up. The seats are comfortable, and also I'm getting a massage right now, and the massage is pretty good.
Especially, I think, since we have the 20s on this tester. Yeah. Last time we tested this out, the 22s it does make an improvement. Let's talk about today's slam dunk and airball. I'll start with the slam dunk, and I won't get into this a ton because we already talked about it quite a bit, but I think it's the powertrain selection. It's still really strong because you have so many different choices depending on what your priorities are, including a really excellent hybrid.
Yeah. Now on the flip side, our airball is going to be just some of the equipment that you get for the money, especially in the higher end F-150s like this Platinum. We are sitting just a touch under $90,000, and you're not getting as nice of an experience as you do in some of the other trucks in their fully loaded versions. Like I mentioned earlier, you're missing out on things like an air suspension. Some of the materials in here are not overly impressive, and you have to go to at least the Platinum Plus, which costs even more money than this one to get a nicer interior. For instance, we don't have like any wood trim or anything in this one, and we're sitting, like I said, right around 90 grand. Now the F-150 has a huge price range. You can see the full lineup of prices on the screen right now, but we start a little under 50 grand and range up in price very close to around 90,000. Now we have one of those upper end examples, so we have the 26 Platinum. We actually opted for one of the middle Platinum packages, which is the 702. That's around $6,400, and then we also have quite a few options as well. In addition to that, $2,800 is our destination charge, and as far as the total price on this one, we're sitting around $88,000. If you're curious as to where it's manufactured, it is in Dearborn, Michigan. And if you're looking to buy a Ford F-150 or any vehicle, we'd encourage you to check out carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you should do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool to use if you plan on doing a dealership negotiation. You can find a link to that down below in our video description, as well as a pinned comment at the top of this video. But what about Ford's resale reliability and warranty? First up, let's talk about resale value. Ford as a brand is rated at 48.8% of estimated retained value after 5 years and 60,000 miles, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 20.96%. Now, it's worth noting that it is right at the industry average, just slightly below the industry average. So compared to some of the main competitors you might be looking at, such as Toyota and the Japanese options, it is a little bit on the lower side, as well as compared to Chevy.
Now, the same can also be said about reliability. With our combined reliability index and our latest 2026 data, Ford is rated just about exactly even with the overall industry average compared to all other vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, our reliability data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com where you can find all of that. Now, when it comes to your warranty, you have a basic warranty of 3-year, 36,000 miles, a powertrain warranty of 5-year and 60,000 miles. Now, the hybrid components for this Power Boost are 8 years and 80,000 miles, and the Platinum Plus gets a 2-year maintenance plan included, although the other versions will not get complimentary maintenance. And guys, that wraps up our in-depth review of the 2026 Ford F-150 Platinum. If you enjoyed hearing about the 2026 changes, as well as us comparing this to that new Silverado, we'd appreciate you subscribing down below and becoming a part of our family. We have a lot of fun on this channel, and I promise you won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.